Before 1960, like in the 1950s and before, you can Google it. If a man didn't do his job, like provide and protect, the wife could call up the police department, tell the police, and the police would come and arrest the man and put him in prison. You can Google this. If a woman didn't do her job, as taking care of the house and taking care of the man and all that, what happened to her? Did the man call the police? No, nothing happened to her. And this idea that every woman was beat by her husband before the 1960s or whatever is insane. No group is that horrible, okay? No group. That's racism, okay? When you think that all men used to beat women, that's insane. And then you go, if you figure out how many hours a housewife works, she's only working about 50 hours a week the first 10 years, 30 hours a week the next 10 years, and then 20 years after that, she's only working 20 hours a week because the kids are out of the house. The man works 55 hours a week the entire time, okay? I figured it out. It's about 29.5 or say 30 hours a week on average if you averaged out the hours for a woman. 40 years, she would work 30 hours a week. The man, 55 hours, because he's got to do stuff at home. He got to cut the grass, take out the garbage, gutters, change the oil. He's got to drive to work and back to home to work. So 55 hours compared to 30 hours. Who's the oppressor? I don't understand this. How is it that the provider and the protector, he is the oppressor? The woman didn't have to. This idea that they couldn't, they could work. They were allowed to work. They were allowed to have bank accounts. Just if you were married, then you had a bank account in your one bank account under your husband's name. And this idea that they got paid less. Yes, of course they got paid less because they didn't have to work back then. If it was like 1900 or 1850, the woman didn't have to work. Okay, so when she did go to work, if the guy hired her, he had to hire her over a man who was trying to survive, trying to feed his family. Okay. So of course he's going to pay. It's like the King of England going to Denny's and asking for a job. Of course he's going to get paid less because they have to overlook a man who needs it to survive. You know what I mean? That's not racism when that was done. Okay, women didn't have to go to wars. They don't have to. When bullets are fly, who jumps in front of the bullets? How are these people oppressed? They're the most privileged group in history of the United States and Earth. And yet they act like they're oppressed.